In this episode of the I Choose Health podcast, we explore how dangerous sleep deprivation is. What would you say?
I would probably say it's more dangerous.
Yeah.
It's much more dangerous because we think it's something very innocent as sugar consumption, right? And we know sugar consumption is more dangerous than cocaine. A student, young, healthy male, decided not to sleep and to see what happens. He made it to 7 days. He started hallucinating. And I'm stressing, he was a very healthy male. He was 22 years old, no chronic illness, no health problems.
Wow.
So at first what started happening was the cognitive behavior. He started forgetting things and he was losing concentration.
Think you're okay with 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night? Think again.
I'm fine, this is all I need. No, you need much more. It's just what you used to. You chronically sleep deprived. You probably also notice earlier balding or gray hair. You notice some sort of, which they might not be aware yet if they are young people, some sort of autoimmune conditions in development.
You can't catch up on sleep on the weekends either.
Our bodies thrive on routines. Our bodies love to eat at certain times, love to eat certain food, love to do certain activities, and also love to sleep in a certain way. So, nope. As we're younger, sure, we can cheat life, and people also say, I will sleep when I'm dead. Well, you might be actually shortcutting depriving yourself of sleep.
Here's Aneta's one word to describe sleep.
Irreplaceable.
Is something standing between you and your happiness? It was for me. I had to face my depression and the constant negative self-talk. Therapy helped me realize I deserve to be happy. That's why this podcast is called I Choose Health, because I made the choice to heal and I want to share that with you. It's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. 60% of you who are watching this podcast are men. And brothers, it is time to take care of yourself. As a gift to you, we've partnered with BetterHelp as our sponsor to help you start your own healing journey. We all face moments when life feels overwhelming, whether it's stress, anxiety, or just feeling stuck. Talking to someone can make a real difference. And that's where our sponsor BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp offers professional online therapy that's convenient, affordable, and entirely on your schedule. You can connect with a licensed therapist by video, phone, or even chat, whatever works best for you. Let our sponsor BetterHelp support you on your journey to better mental health. You can get 10% off your first month by going to betterhelp.com/iChooseHealth. That's betterhelp.com/iChooseHealth for 10% off your first month. Take the first step toward feeling better today. Welcome back to the I Choose Health podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Leslie. Today on the podcast, we're joined by Aneta Grabiat, widely known as a sleep coach. Aneta is a clinical psychologist and lifestyle medicine expert who has spent years helping people understand the true power of sleep, not just as rest, but as one of the most important pillars of mental, emotional, and physical health. She combines neuroscience, psychology, and practical lifestyle strategies to show how sleep impacts everything from hormones and metabolism to mood, stress resilience, and even how long we live. Aneta has worked with clients across the globe, translating complex science into simple, actionable steps so people can finally stop surviving on caffeine and stress and start thriving through deep, restorative sleep. Today, we're diving into how much sleep we really need, what happens when we don't get enough, and how to reclaim rest in a culture that glorifies busyness. Aneta Grabiat, welcome to the I Choose Health podcast.
Hello, and thank you so much for such a generous introduction. Hello, everyone.
So, Aneta, people hear all the time that sleep is important, but I want to start provocatively. What if we challenge that idea? Why should we believe sleep is as essential as food, water, or oxygen?
You want a challenge? I actually participated in the study of a challenge. About 20 years ago in Poland, a student, young, healthy male, decided not to sleep and to see what happens. Of course, he was monitored by the doctors, by anyone who he needed. And can you guess how long he lasted before they needed a medical intervention?
I feel like I heard this story before. Was it like 11 days or I forget how long it was.
Well, 11 days, it might have been fatal. He made it to 7 days. He started hallucinating. And I'm stressing, he was a very healthy male. He was 22 years old, no chronic illness, no health problems. So at first, what started happening was the cognitive behavior. He started forgetting things and he was losing concentration, which thinking of people who sleep every night 5-6 hours and then they drive, or they've got maybe heavy machines job, or maybe pilots, just thinking of this type of jobs, losing the concentration, losing focus. And then he was becoming very violent in a way because his attention span was very low and everything was annoying. He felt bothered all the time, which understandably, right, when you sleep deprived and thinking even about one night, and you're just so annoyed if someone is exercising your patience. So that's what's starting happening. Then, of course, caffeine. He was surviving on caffeine, liters of caffeine, and very poor nutritional choices. Because if we don't sleep enough, we don't have energy. The first source of energy we think our brain needs is carbs. And not even carbs, sugar, because sugar is the easiest way of the energy release. So he was craving all the junk. What started happening on the physiological level? Heart palpitations. And then he was having some very strange rashes, which they even didn't wait for him to develop because he was in a good state. So he was hospitalized and they decided to stop the study. So the science says that human can survive a couple of minutes without breath. I think the world record is about 4 minutes. About a week without water, some 3 weeks without food, and as you rightly said, possibly 11 days without sleep. So this should answer the question of the importance of the sleep.
And you know, we live in a culture that glorifies the grind culture and cut and sleep to get ahead. What do you say to someone who insists that they can function just fine on 4 to 5 hours of sleep? Is that even biologically possible, or are they lying to themselves?
Well, for the moment, this is biologically possible. But if you look at them, and I look at people from the Chinese medicine point of view, I would look at their eyes, their skin, their tongue, if possible. I would ask about the energy level, metabolism, what are the nutritional choices. I would observe them, how they react versus respond to stimuli. And I can see they are used to those 4 or 5 hours. And they say, I'm fine, this is all I need. No, you need much more. It's just what you used to. You chronically sleep deprived. You probably also notice earlier balding or gray hair. You notice some sort of, which they might not be aware yet if they are young people, some sort of autoimmune conditions in development.
You know, it's interesting because that kind of bleeds into the next question. If it's a one-size-fits-all, do genetics, lifestyle, or gender make some people legitimately different in their sleep needs? Do any of those things play into maybe different times or hours of sleep for individuals, or is it pretty much everyone should be around the same sleep schedules, like sleep time?
Well, this is a very now challenging question to answer, because the answer is yes or no. The science, physiology tells us when it gets darker, we start yawning. The body starts producing the hormone called melatonin. And melatonin tells us, start unwinding, it's the bedtime, it's the sleep time. In the same time, we know people function as night owls or early birds. And very often, genius is born at night alone.
Right.
So there is many people who tried to function as a normal, per standard, waking up in the morning, working or going to work and then go to sleep, but they know they cannot do it. So I wouldn't force them, but it's harder for you. It's more challenging to manage your life, especially if you've got family, if you've got office job, that you function, that you've got your best peak hours at night and then you sleep during the day. So we've got those preferences and inclination towards something that's more natural. However, as much as I said already, there's a hormone called melatonin. And melatonin activates and helps with a deeper reset, recharge at night when it's dark.
You know, one thing that I've been hearing over the years is that, you know, we can take little power naps and catch up on sleep. What do you believe about the idea of catching up on sleep during the weekend? Where some people think it can undo some damage of sleepless work weeks, or is that also just a comforting myth?
You know, I think as maybe teenagers, when you've got a lot of going on and you've got that fear of missing out and there is socializing and everything else and you're up till 4 a.m., maybe then you can sleep till noon on Saturday. But think of us, grown-up people, I can't, right?
Yeah.
You can't because you think, oh, it's the weekend, and then you wake up at 6 a.m. frustrated. Why the heck I cannot sleep?
Yeah.
Because our bodies love routines. Our bodies thrive on routines. Our bodies love to eat at certain times, love to eat certain food, love to do certain activities, and also love to sleep in a certain way. So, nope. As we're younger, sure, we can cheat life, and people also say, I will sleep when I'm dead. Well, you might be actually shortcutting depriving yourself of sleep.
So at a cellular level, what actually happens inside the body when we are consistently sleep deprived? Can you break it down for us in terms of hormones, brain function, immune system? Like what happens when we're missing that sleep?
So I will try to speak in a very simple way. We talk about the cognitive function, which is the brain. There's a brain shrinkage. It's very similar to abuse of alcohol and drugs when we sleep deprived. Nutritional choices. You know, when you rested, when you recharged, you may feel like, oh, I'm going to have a salad and steak tonight or fish or whatever it is. But when you really feel so tired and you're just wired but tired that you can't fall asleep, McDonald's seems so easy and so inviting. We know it, right? Then, of course, abuse of caffeine. So we're not functioning on our energy. We're cheating our body. We're having this caffeine spike and then down. There's very open sugar involved. We probably don't feel like performing sports because we have no energy. And everything else is a chore. We function just with bare minimum. Just doing what needs to be done, which is normally the job that you probably go and sit in front of some office. We don't get the optimal peak performance. We also don't get the best relationships because it's all on this survival, very low level. There's a lot of going on in the studies, observations. Start with the brain because the brain is really the most important organ.
Now, some researchers call sleep deprivation a slow form of self-destruction. I think I know where your answer lies on this, but do you agree with that framing, or is it an extreme framing?
Of self-destruction?
So it's like, if you are not getting the sleep you need, like, is there something that is consistently breaking our bodies down?
Well, in a way, yes, because we're talking about physiology and anatomy. And as I said, that from the outside, you don't notice what's going on, apart from someone being snappy, and you notice their skin and nutrition and how they go about in their lives. But internally, of course, it's just, people ask me, yes, because, you know, working in the well-being, or what did you call it? You call it the lifestyle. I love that because sleep really is so dependable on our lifestyle. So looking at our lifestyle, that whole thing mirrors what would be the quality of sleep and vice versa. The quality of sleep will also influence our lifestyle.
Yeah. And I know at the start you mentioned the individual who was a part of that study for those 7 days and what impact it had on him. And I'm wondering, in terms of sleep deprivation, how long does it take for those things to affect things like decision making, emotional stability, or even physical appearance? Are we talking days, weeks, years? Like, how long does it take before sleep deprivation starts to show up in our bodies?
This is more individual because there are people who seem they function. You look at them and you just think, oh, they function great because the consumption of caffeine or sugar, we don't know. They seem, they're, as I said, tired but very wired. So they seem so alert, and you may think at first, especially if you don't know individuals, you may think they're actually great. They are functioning on those 6 hours, 4 hours of sleep. But there are also individuals who could be a parent 2 nights in a row and, they can't function. So that's really individual.
Yeah. That reminds me when my daughter was born, I remember those 2 weeks of paternity leave, and it really threw me off because wasn't getting to sleep. And even as a trainer, I was starting to gain weight and everything. I'm like, okay, this is new. I need to find a way to control this. So, we were able to find a solution that would help us both, my wife and I, get more sleep. But we definitely started to see the impact it had on us in terms of irritability and weight gain. And so we started to try to change those things in terms of, trying to help her get on a better sleep schedule so that we could also in turn affect our sleep positively. So
thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing this, because we forgot about a very important aspect, the growth hormone, which affects hormones and metabolism. And there is no miracle diet if we don't get the sleep sorted, because people ask me, Ozempic, any smoothie, any specific exercise. And I just say, fix your sleep, gut health, and balance your sugar, blood sugar, that is. That's just because having this, then you can perform sport and activities just for joy and fun, and then you will be in a good shape, and the blood test results will prove it as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot of conversation around how lack of sleep affects weight gain, insulin resistance, and diabetes risk. Can you explain the real link between sleep and metabolism? And I think you kind of already spoke about it, where people, if they don't get sleep, there's a lack of energy, and usually the first result is to go towards some in the sugar and carbs. So just maybe break that down a little bit further.
Okay, so it's all down to hormones, right? Hormones and blood sugar. And just as per your example, when your baby was born, and you might have still been going to the gym and having the same eating routine, but you notice you were putting on weight, right? Just there's something going on in the body that doesn't function well. Right. It could be the thyroid. It could be something with how our body processes sugar. Yeah, so this is mostly with gremlin, with the hormone growth. What was the other part of the question?
In terms of the link between sleep and metabolism,
Yes. Obesity, it's very simple. Well, there's a lot of studies that confirm people who are sleep deprived, they are prone to diabetes. But there is one way of looking at it and studying it, but simply speaking, we know as humans, without going to medical research and studies, we just know what foods we're going to choose. That's just a very simple answer to it.
Yeah. So we're going to change directions now. We're going to look at stress. And I know that, in a sense, sleep and stress have a chicken and egg relationship. And what I mean is, which do you believe is the bigger driver? Does stress rob us of sleep, or does sleep deprivation amplify stress?
Yeah, it's egg and the chicken, but I would probably start with stress. And this is a very tricky and kind of a luck-involved situation, because I know people in my life who, they just don't worry. They just don't stress. It's either something big and traumatic happened in their lives, and they broke and they decided, I won't stress anymore in life, or they just don't have it in them. And there are people who might be doing mindfulness all their lives, hypnotherapies and everything else, and they just stress. They're very reactional.
Yeah.
They may say, oh, my mother was like this. And it's harder for them. I know it's harder on them. It could be also trauma situations. And I believe, because I've watched at the brain monitoring of people who were in deep sleep, in the REM cycles, and what subconsciousness does to us. You know, when you sometimes wake up and you think of what a crazy dream I had.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So very often we processing what we haven't processed in our lives, we processing during our sleep. If this is so strongly switched on, we actually may have difficulties with sleeping, with insomnia, or that sleep is very shallow. And then you wake up restless, or you actually cannot stay asleep the whole night. So there is a lot of nuances there. I just would start with realizing what's going on for us on the emotional level if we struggle with sleep, and how this is related and to what.
So I know that insomnia is skyrocketing in modern societies. From your perspective, is insomnia primarily a medical issue, a lifestyle issue, or a symptom of deeper emotional and psychological imbalances?
Oh, you got me here. I'm a psychologist, but I'm also a nutritionist, and I studied the science, and I'm nerd for science, so I love reading any news and novelties that come from the research. But I work with real people, real human beings, made of flesh, made of blood, and made of real sleeping challenges. So it's a combination of everything. I don't want to label anyone with, oh, you've got this trauma, and use some very esoteric terms. I just would rather people understand it simply. You need to feel safe. Safe within your emotions. Because, right, when you feel safe, you feel relaxed. When you feel relaxed, you're able to switch off when you feel tired. It's literally like if you were chased by dinosaurs, like our ancestors, right?
Yeah.
And if there is something that's constantly being processed, even on the subconscious level, we unable to disconnect, because you just feel like, okay, I may have to be on the alert all the time, but physiologically our body is unable to function on 4 hours of sleep, or getting sleeping pills, right? They're addictive as well.
So in our society now, I know everything has been driven by money. We often think of sleep as a waste of time. Do you think capitalism and modern work culture have essentially demonized rest?
Yes, in a way. I can't say no, and I can't opt out, because I can't move back onto the 18th century. But people had no artificial lights. So as soon as it got dark, even if it was 3 p.m. in winter, what do? You go to sleep. You've got a candle if you're from the wealthy family, and you can read for an hour or so. There was no Netflix, no Amazon Prime, nothing, no computer games. You go to sleep. Apparently, in medieval ages, they would wake up in the middle of the night, again, if they had candles, and they would go about and do some chores, or maybe make some food, and they would go to sleep again. But right now, if you want to, you can stay awake all night long, because you've got lights and you've got so much entertainment with distractions. And time is money, and to be efficient, right? Sleep is pointless. Why wasting the time? But people really don't understand. Well, those who are great at what they do and they understand the pillars of wellness, they spend enough time sleeping, recharging, and distressing. I remember my first psychology lecture I went to, and it was regarding the well-being, lifestyle, and everything. And I remember this professor said, there is 24 hours in a day. We should work 8, sleep 8, play 8. And in theory, it makes sense, but hardly anyone sleeps 8. I don't know, maybe few people work 8 hours, but they play 8 hours, none of us. There's just none of us, right? Because the 8 hours is used to commute to work, to do your chores, to look after your kids, to go food shopping, everything else, right? But if you think about it, because it really made me thinking, where is the playtime? When there is a playtime, we disconnect. When we disconnect, we relax the body. We sleep, we recharge. Then probably we work less, but we get better results.
Interesting. So I know that technology often gets blamed, phones, screens, blue light, but is that too easy of an excuse? Is our bigger problem actually psychological overstimulation and a refusal to switch off?
It's the overstimulation and refusal to switch off, but why? Because of the screens. In my childhood, I only had the books and I loved reading.
Right.
But I would read few pages unless the book was fascinating and you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas right now is this screen and that screen and something else, and it's all interesting. And also we're losing the attention span. Try to read a chapter of the book for the 20 pages, right? It's very easy to lose attention because TikTok or Instagram Reels are 30 seconds long. This is our attention span now. And you swipe and you swipe and you go up and down and you've got colors and you've got the music and it's everything shouting at you with so many stimuli, right? And after looking at this, after all these screens, suddenly you want to go to sleep. Okay, you might be lying in a dark room, but your mind is still there. There's still just so much going on.
Yeah. And to those of you who listen to this podcast and watch this podcast, I apologize for my contribution in promoting these via social media as well, because I do also create like 30-second to 40-second reels to promote the podcast. So I'm playing my role, but I'm playing my role hopefully so that you guys can make healthier choices.
Very well said. Very well said.
Yeah. So if you had to make the case in one sentence that sleep deprivation is as dangerous as smoking or alcohol abuse, what would you say?
I would probably say it's more dangerous.
Yeah.
It's much more dangerous because we think it's something very innocent as sugar consumption, right? And we know sugar consumption is more dangerous than cocaine. So we might not see the results as soon as we see from drugs or alcohol consumption. Not even smoking gives us the immediate results. And you get used to the feeling of this is my normal. But the normal is not optimal. You will notice, you see the people who sleep well, who function well, and you see yourself. And I'm very sorry because we know we live in the society where, in my humble opinion, over 80% of people struggle with good sleep.
Interesting. So let's turn into the idea of supplements. I know that a lot of people turn to supplements, melatonin, magnesium, even CBD for better sleep. Do you think these actually help, or are they more like a Band-Aid that are covering up deeper issues?
They do work. And some part of it is placebo, but they do work. There's scientific studies that melatonin helps with boosting the natural melatonin. However, it doesn't work for everyone. Magnesium as well works, the different types of magnesium, so just knowing which type of magnesium. There's also something called primidine, which is amazing. What primidine is, it came from Japan, and it's literally, do you remember there was this trend of drinking wheatgrass shots?
Yep, I was definitely part of that.
Yes. I attempted, but the taste really put me off. But we knew, right, the wheatgrass, the tiny little, wheat. Wheat before becoming the wheat. So primidine is one step back. It's the wheatgrass sprouts. Because sprouted food has got the most nutrients. And the compound in primidine, with the very unfortunate name called spermidine, nothing to do with the sperm, but it's just called scientifically spermidine, boosts longevity on autophagy, which helps so much with the sleep. So that's something I recommend for people to try.
Huh. So go ahead.
The question is still lying deeper in, okay, I can't fix my sleep, my lifestyle with taking some pills. We need to really make some changes onto our lifestyles. And what I suggest, and I always practice what I preach, because authenticity, it's so rare but important in the world where everyone on social media is some sort of wellness guru. Mm-hmm. So what I do, I personally get between 8 and 10 hours of sleep. And you might say this is crazy, but I live in Spain now, and here the siesta is the holy hour, as I call it. And I was laughing at people how they do it. But even before moving to Spain, I lived in London, England. Mm-hmm. I can work with my schedule, and I know many people can't, but I would have to have about 20 minutes at power nap, because I work with people on the individual basis and I give a lot. So for me, it's a selfless, selfish act. If I am to be good at what I do as a therapist, I need to be very on it mentally, and I'm on it when I get that recharge nap. And I struggle at first, but I worked on it. So no screens, maybe reading a few pages, chamomile tea, some herbal infusions. In the evening, making sure that I'm not watching any movie in bed. It's so convenient. And I know many people who, if you work, you come back home and very likely might be 8 p.m. Mm-hmm. You fix your dinner, something quick because you're so tired. And yes, you're very tired. But if you just think, okay, I am just to work and go to sleep, work and go to sleep, you want to do something else out of your life.
Yep.
So you might sit in front of Amazon, right? And you binge on some very interesting series because you disconnect and you laugh. But then you look at the clock, at the watch, and you see, holy moly, it's 1 a.m. I have to go to sleep because I have to wake up at 6 and repeat it again. And then we can't fall asleep because we're still so wired. And then when alarm clock rings at 6 a.m., we can't open our eyes without double shot of espresso. So it's, I'm trying to be fair because it's very easy for me to preach as the wellness guru that you should sleep 8-10 hours a night and take the naps. I know it's not realistic for more of people. For most of people, this is not realistic, especially having small kids, families, dependents, maybe looking after your parents, maybe commuting long hours. But I'm still asking the questions. Okay, there's a time during the day when we're scrolling. What could we do with this time? Can we maybe make it more efficient and get the chores done? And then maybe, okay, I love the series. I will watch it over the weekends. I will leave my Amazon, Netflix, whatever it is, HBO, for the weekend. Also introducing, as you know from your professional experience, some movement. This also will, having the tired physical body, tired but relaxed, it will also help to somehow disconnect mentally and hopefully help with sleep. Just not making the problem out of it, because when we label something as a problem, as a challenge, then we fear it. So I've noticed with some people I work with, the idea of, okay, it's 10 p.m., it's getting dark, I should be going to sleep, that's already very stressful for them. So not making the problem out of it and using the bedroom only for two things, sleep or the other thing, That's just two things we should be using the bedroom for.
Yeah.
Not eating, not watching TV, not I don't know what. There's just two activities bedroom should be used for.
Yeah. Now, we're going to transition now into some rapid fire questions. So 10 seconds or less to answer, and then we'll come down to a close. So we'll start with this. Best time to go to bed, early bird or night owl?
In between. But the best time to go to bed, I say, count 8 hours back from the time you should be getting up. We have different lifestyles. And at that time, ideally, you are unwinding. You switched off your phone. There is no TV anymore. You heading for the shower or heading to bed. You might be listening some relaxing music, but you're already on a mission sleep.
Interesting. Okay, if you could ban one thing before bed, what would it be? Caffeine, alcohol, or screens?
I think caffeine is too easy, and everyone knows it's a no-no. Alcohol, very deceiving because people snore like there's no tomorrow when they drink alcohol. And you can see some people falling asleep. Their subconsciousness switching on, but it doesn't mean they will get restful sleep. So they are waking up early and they are waking in a very confusing state and also in a kind of violent situation. So I would say the screen. The screen is our new evil.
Okay. Two things. Is it worse to sleep too little or to sleep at the wrong times?
Too little, I think. Not sleeping enough, you get used to the sleep deprivation, and you won't be able to sleep too much at the random time. Even if you work shift jobs, you either sleep the days or the nights. Sure, people feel constantly like being jet lagged when they sleep either days or nights, but they still try to sleep enough. If you, hospital nurse, for example, or whatever job you're doing, and then you finish at 6 a.m., you go home, you won't be sleeping the whole day like you would sleep the whole night, but at least you've got in your mind, okay, this is the time when I need to rest. So you take some sort of rest. But yes, in the ideal world, we all sleep at night and we all get 8 hours.
Got it. Power naps, yes or no?
Definitely yes. If you can, definitely yes.
Got it. Now, what's the weirdest sleep myth you've ever heard?
The worst?
The weirdest. Like, what sleep myth is like the weirdest thing you've heard?
Do you have any ideas? I don't really follow any TikTok things, so if you had anything, let's just debunk it. If you heard of anything interestingly funny.
So I've heard some people say like, hey, if you go to sleep, it doesn't matter what time you go to sleep. Once you get your 8 hours, it's fine. So I've been wondering if that's a myth, because I grew up understanding that, the nighttime is for the sleep, so you shouldn't be up to 12, 1, 2. So there's some people who go to sleep at 1 o'clock and then they'll wake up at 9, right? So they think, well, I've got my 8 hours, I got my 8 hours. Is that 8 hours compromised in any way if they're not going to sleep prior to 1 a.m.?
When we said earlier, the early birds and night owls, ideally, the melatonin kicks in, we all sleep at night, but people are different. They function differently. They've got different metabolism, different eye color, etc. But it's not so much the 8 hours, but the cycles, the REM cycles that last about 5 hours. Because, sometimes when you wake up because of some noise, or maybe your child woke you up, or your partner, or maybe the phone rang or the doorbell, and you're so spaced out and you just feel so grumpy. And even you look at your time like, I've slept 8 hours. Why am I so exhausted?
Yeah.
Because you haven't finished the last cycle. So ideally the cycles are finished and then we feel refreshed.
Yeah. It's funny because I do see that with my daughter when she wakes up prematurely and she just looks so like unable to function following that. So yeah, I definitely understand that. And also, first thing people should do in the morning for better sleep at night.
First thing, guess what? Not having your phone within your reach. I know 1 hour is hard. I just say at least half an hour. Just wake up with the alarm clock and just go about your day. Go to the bathroom, make your breakfast or make your coffee, get ready for work. Just don't look at your phone. There's nothing so important that you need to see right now. Because if the first thing we open our eyes and we start scrolling, you know how wired we are, and we already slave it. We already so taken into it that we forget about our day's agenda. So I would like us to wake up, feel grounded, and feel in control of my day. In the cognitive mental way.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wind down. One food or drink that secretly destroys sleep?
Drink. I would say all the sodas, because we don't realize all the sodas contain not just the sugar, but caffeine. Why we love it so much? We love it so much because it gives us the energy lift. And that's why we think like, I don't drink so much coffee. I only take 2 a day.
Yeah.
But I drink 6 cans of Coke or Fanta or Sprite, but I don't remember why, because it gives you sugar lift and it also has caffeine in it. So all the sodas, I'm afraid.
Okay. All right. Weighted blanket. Is it a game changer or a gimmick?
Weighted blanket, I don't know if it's for sleep or it's rather for that safety matter, which is all connected. Some people say they sleep better because they feel so tucked in. You know, when the small baby, you need to tuck this baby in and the baby just feels so safe in it. There was a technique in Japan a few years ago. This was big, that people with sleep problems, they would just put them in, wrap them up. They played some classical music and they slept well. It's a way. If we've got wired and anxious mind, it makes you feel grounded and safe.
Now, just remind me at the end of this, I have to tell you a funny story in relation to that. Also, if you had to summarize the importance of sleep in one word, what would it be?
Irreplaceable.
All right, guys. Well, Aneta, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your expertise. We will be joining Aneta again because we are covering other topics. So looking forward to her speaking on that. Again, this is the I Choose Health podcast. I'm your host, Stefan Leslie, reminding you that choosing health is choosing possibility, purpose, and power. Welcome to week 21 of 52 Choices. We're saying to train outside for at least once a week. Most of us spend over 90% of our time indoors, but just one workout outside each week can transform your health. Fresh air improves oxygen flow, which helps your body recover faster and boosts mental clarity. Studies show that exercising in nature reduces stress hormones like cortisol more effectively than indoor workouts. And then there's vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. Research from the National Institutes of Health shows that even 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight can help your body produce enough vitamin D to support bone health, immunity, and mood regulation. Low levels are linked to depression, fatigue, and weakened immunity. This week, take your train outside, run, walk, do yoga, or lift weights in the park. One session outdoors is all it takes to recharge your body and mind. Your choice this week is to get fresh air, sunshine, and a stronger you.